It's well known that FPV racers usually use the 60 Fps NTSC system, while for aerial filming, the 50 Fps PAL system is recommended. We all know that NTSC offers a higher frame rate and lower latency, which is crucial for racing. But when it comes to cinematic or aerial flying, PAL provides better image clarity. But have you ever really wondered how much clearer is PAL? And how much faster is NTSC? Today, let's break it down. Let's start with why NTSC is used for racing. The main reason is simple. NTSC runs at 60 frames per second, while PAL runs at 50. That 60 FPS frame rate reduces latency by around 16.7% compared to 50 Fps. And for most racing pilots, that difference in response and smoothness is noticeable. However, this 60 Fps or 50 FPS is not the same as what we usually refer to in video specs like 24p, 50p, or 60p. In this case, the I stands for interlace scanning. Each frame doesn't contain a full image, it alternates half of the image data between frames. Our FPV goggles then interlace the signal before displaying it as a full analog image. So, a 60i image actually carries only half as much data as a 60p image. So how different is the sharpness between them? In NTSC, the standard resolution is 720x180 with 60i interlace scanning. In PAL, it's 720x176 at 50i. Interestingly, the total data size is the same, but because of the frame rate difference, PAL's image resolution ends up being higher. Both systems share the same horizontal pixel count, but PAL has 16.7% more vertical pixels. So technically, the data volume is identical. Some of you might also notice our racing cameras typically shoot in a 4:3 aspect ratio, but the analog signal format 720x180 is actually 3:2. That's where the interlacing and image stretching inside the goggles come in. The goggles stretch the 3:2 image into a 4:3 frame to make it look great to our eyes. But this process sacrifices some vertical resolution. That's why analog FPV footage often looks a bit soft and stretched vertically. This part of what gives analog FPV video its nostalgic OTV vibe. The interlacing jitter combined with lower vertical resolution creates the dreamy, vintage aesthetic. However, if you use NTSC 720x180 for aerial filming, you'll find it hard to see fine details like tree branches, which can affect your flight precision. With PAL's more square 5:4 aspect ratio compressed into 4:3, the image remains sharper and more detailed, especially in the vertical direction. The clarity and detail are significantly better. That's why PAL is more suitable for cinematic or aerial use. So generally, I recommend NTSC for racing and PAL for filming. But in certain conditions like indoor micro drone races, that may not be ideal. Indoor lighting in many regions uses 50 Hz AC power, meaning lights flicker at 50 Hz or 100 Hz. If you use NTSC with a 1/60th shutter under 50 Hz lighting, the flicker frequency doesn't match. That mismatch causes uneven exposure and visible flicker in your video feed. So in those situations, PAL actually performs better. That's all for today. Hope this clears things up for you.